Alright, everybody, welcome back to Blood Rush League Season 3. This is our main bracket round 3, and this is going to be Hadria and Orison fighting it out in this best of 3. So, right up first, Rocket actually on the killer from Hadria. This is their pick, and Rocket finds a survivor immediately. This is really good because, of course, no corrupts being bought, but wins it 50-50. Does our Claudette Tech just continues looping this 12 pallet and gets a hit through the pallet. And, wow, this is a nice start for Rocket here, but feel like Tech also still has a couple of resources left on the map. But yeah, talking about the build here, I'm not really surprised by what Rocket has brought. It is quite, I think, becoming the new meta on Midwich for Wraith, and it's yeah, just a lot of hex pressure coming on. And first hook will come in fairly shortly, but I would expect our survivors to be triple splitting in this case. But yeah, season 3, I'm kind of back on the desk after a bit of a break, and Rocket as well. He's been keeping up the good work. Actually, see someone with Undying, and I'm just gonna head over there to pressure them off the generator, which is again gonna be the next survivor taking the chase. Gets a nice pre-drop coming through, but Rocket actually doesn't want to break this pallet. I'm fairly surprised by this. I would have assumed that this fairly strong pallet would be broken, and Rocket does kind of try and play the 50-50s, does win this one, so it should take a tag here. As Tech is still on the hook, someone has to go try and rescue the survivor, I would have to assume, but maybe again, maybe Rocket just will not be able to catch anyone out here going for the unhook. And yeah, Survivor's playing fairly patient here. They're just still sitting on the generators. They're not even bothering to unhook that quickly. So yeah, trying to abuse the hook timer as usual. As you can see, comp players usually do. But yeah, we get a quick reset. Ice does manage to get that off. And Jake actually does pre-leave the generator. Fairly timing-based pre-leave, I believe. And unfortunately, Rocket will not be there to appear there for the Jake. So yeah, that gen does get done in the background. A little bit of wasted time there, but oh, Tech's still on the hook. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be a two-person rescue here. As Rocket does commit this one side, does find the second stage onto our Claudette, and now, yeah, this is a bit of a gamble for our Survive side. Considering that first tag came in fairly early, I would not really say that it's anything really like a mistake, but Aloy taking chase here does manage to avoid the tag on this library pallet, and forcing Rocket back to this hook to force the tunnel out, I think, is going to be the case. And yeah, we can see Tech just gets unhooked in the distance, and that is going to be the final, I guess our final chase for Tech, assuming that Rocket does get this down eventually, does find the free God pallet on 11 down, and a survivor here as well, rescuing survivors here to help out our Claudette. And yeah, it's going to be a free tag onto them as the Claudette continues this chase. Doesn't have that much to work with though, forced to play with this I believe 7-up pallet, and this is going to be the 50-50 pallet of all time. And you know, this is where perhaps time can be bought, but I'm gonna assume again Claudette is gonna die here, because as soon as his pallet is dropped, they're completely dead. And Claudette knows the case, greens it, goes and forces a short swing from Rocket, and even trying to flashlight for a bit of flex here. And still gonna be extreme patience for Claudette, and finally I believe that's gonna be the drop coming through and the stun onto Rocket. Even though she gets down, that is 3 generators for this tunnel out, which I actually don't know if I would consider this an overcommit for Rocket, because securing this 3v1 on Midwich on the killer like Wraith, you know, having that semi-stealth ability until he's close is fairly strong. And Haunted Ground's also going to be popped in the distance, means that is not going to be of further use in the trial. At least Rocket still does have the what do you call it? The blood favor available, as he does kind of fake a locker, trying to maybe bait ahead on. But no, our survivors are still hidden away on this potential bot side of the map, and we don't see anyone yet. And Rocket is kind of just taking this time, and the survivors taking the time to reset. Just as I said, of course, we find the Jake trying to run to the 3rd floor, perhaps, but obviously that's not going to result in anything, and it's going to continue some of the chase, and Ace actually going to be caught out now. Blood Favor does get a nice bit of value here. I believe that hit does come through just in time through the pallet. Blood Favor as well, kind of blocks the pallet while it's down. A little bit of a bug coming coming there, but yeah, that's two tags really quickly off the bat as Rocket decides to leave yet again, and this is again the problem with the 3v1 in mid, which with a semi stealth killer like Wraith, he's going to be fairly risky to go for resets in the open. You have to try and coordinate them as a team, and that is going to be what Orison I think has to do here because these generators are not in the safe spot. So they just have to try risk a reset in the safe spot. Actually, no, they're not even resetting yet. I believe that's just going to be the stealth coming through from injuries and injured survivors, and I hope he's even surviving, stealthing too, just to try and get the proper rotations for this. And there is going to be our ace rotating across the map. I believe that was the 5 side. So completely away from all the generators, which is very good positioning for our survivors. But again, it's still the stealth game coming through. Nice little angles here from Jake and Ace, gonna kind of secure a reset. But yeah, Aloy does jump on generator, does get off a little bit. So I think they still don't really have good information as to where Rocket is. They're just taking their chances, I believe, on this generator in the corridor area of the map. I forgot exactly where this was, but Rocket does manage to find resetting survivors, does take a tag onto Ace, but this is again a fairly decent setup for Rocket to try and take sorry, for Ace to take chase with, but it seems like again Blood Favor just going to close that off very quickly and secure the down just on the last couple of centimeters from this setup room. You know, I think if Rocket did not get that hit there, potentially we would see the generator being done by Lorry, but now this is going to be pain resonance coming to the trial, and this 4th generator of the trial, it's going to be extremely difficult to complete here. Actually, our Jake just decides to stealth in the open here. Actually, hold on, the help just got picked up in this piano room, I just realized, so that's any means necessary, getting a nice amount of value for our Jake. You know, just delaying this chase even more, buying more time for our Lorry to do the generator. I don't think he makes this bathroom pallet on this 8 down area, and it's just going to be again the chase being traded off for those seconds on the generator. And considering that Lorry is not really been doing anything at this point in time, I just assume this generator is being done, and I think actually makes the vault and unzones himself away from what I would call the house of Midwich, and Rocket actually decides to leave this, trying to find our Lorry in response to this, and this has gone completely wrong here. The gen's gonna pop in Rocket's face, he can't stop that, and now the unhook's gonna be coming in. Also, okay, nearly loses the 50-50 on power, but gets the tag. Very luckily for Rocket, because if that did not connect, we could have looked at something really bad here. I mean, our Lorry does get down pretty quickly, you know, 2-tap of course coming through, thanks to Blood Favor yet again. But it might have bought enough time again for that reset to come through under the hook. But I think our survivors were one step ahead and did reposition. No, they actually went for the reset, so that means that, of course, they're both right there. And Jake's going to get body blocked and tagged very quickly off this. So the main thing, though, is that we do not have one survivor sitting on a generator. Now what the case is we've had a slug for some time. We're also going to get a hook onto our Jake, but our Ace is kind of okay. I was going to say nowhere to be seen, but picks up the Lorry. That means they're both going to be in the bathroom, and Rocket has to head there quite quickly. But still, again, things can kind of just slip a bit out of control. They are going for the reset actually on the corridor of 9. I don't know if this is a safe play because Rocket should just be able to see them from the bathroom, and they do get the reset off, but Rocket seems to be on their tail fairly quickly. The totem is actually spotted here on 11 down, and he's going to be sat on the totem's going to be committed, I mean, by Lorry as Ace goes down. And actually, I think Rocket decided to pick up. I could not entirely tell. I think, yeah, that is going to be the pick up onto our Ace and the hook as well. There's a bit of lag, I think, on my end. And that actually kind of sort of worked out for our survivors, because now there's a healthy survivor. Rocket does know the general position of the survivor, but doesn't know exactly which hook they'll go for. And since both our survivors were pretty much not really in danger of being completely sacrificed immediately, that means that they still have enough time to grab Murtex off the hook, even though he hit second stage. So Yeah, survivors have managed to recover this really, really cleanly. I guess Jake, that one stun on the piano room kind of just um went back into all of this, and Laurie's gonna take the next chase. Does potentially get away with this. Oh my god, the swing coming in for Rocket, and Laurie's just gonna be playing 50-50s. Does buy again enough time for the unhook to come through, as Rocket does lose another 50-50. This is, I think, why people hate this map now, is because of all the 50-50s and that forced on the pallets. Oh, this bad pallet anyway, but yeah, they did rework this map, and I yeah, I don't really like it thanks to the RNG, but gonna be a trade of a tag for a reset, as Rocket does try and find our survivors for a reset, does find the scratch marks, does find the ace, and again, this is the same 50-50 pallet. Maybe he can buy more time here. He's still, again, stunned from the wrong side, but seems like Jake's here to take a hit to save the day for Laurie to potentially, again, go for a generator, but I don't really know how to assess this situation, because our survivors haven't yet. I mean, if Laurie had been on a generator, she couldn't have been on a generator for long. Neither could have the other two survivors, because they reset in the distance. So, realistically, even though all these slug, all this like trading and tags have been coming through, I don't think like our survivors have really gotten any progress on the generators. But again, at the same time, Rocket has not been able to get a down as of yet. So that is going to be the down low onto Ace. Does manage to convert there, and I guess I think this is Dave's final hook, right? It's either the final or going to be the second stage, but I did hear him die there, so now we're in the 2v1, and yeah, now I think this is pretty secured for 4K1. Even though this gen is pretty close, I think they doubled it. Unfortunately, it just was not close enough. So good performance, I think, from Orison. 4K1 on Wraith, considering that really early tag, I think is, yeah, really solid result. I'm going to assume that the game is completely over here, because of course there's no unbreakable for Wraith being a C tier, and it's going to be an attempted tech there, and nearly kind of works out. I actually didn't know about that, that you could go over the little gap there, but yeah, a little bit of knowledge there potentially if you're going to be playing a Wraith set on mid-witch. Yeah, you can Wraith launch swing over that little gap there on the library. So yeah, 4K1 pretty secured here. I don't think it would matter if Murtex makes it out of the hatch, if he can even get away from being sacrificed. But yeah, Hadria gets the 4K1, and now the survive side has to try and meet the 4K1, I guess. Just taking a quick bite of an apple. It's 2 AM here. We're chilling. So that's going to be it. I'm not entirely sure who is going to be playing the Wraith next set for Orison, but I'm going to be expecting a very similar build coming through for my Wraith. So whoever it is, it's going to be a fairly close match. So we'll be right back after a short intermission as we get Orison's killer for you all. Alright everyone, welcome back to our first Wraith set on Midwich. Of course, it is going to be... Sorry, I had to take a bit of a break there. It's going to be a Wraith for Orison now, because they just played Survivor, and it's going to be Rocket actually taking the first chase. It's kind of a bit of reminiscence from that first chase from Claudette. But Faster's actually going to just break the pallet and leave this 12 area. Actually does find scratch marks coming away from this totem, so it does catch a bit of a rotation, but it is still good amount of time bought for our survivor side, as it is going to be Tori taking the next chase. Casco does get the fairly safe pallet drop and continues this on the bot side. Doesn't have anything else though. I don't know if they make this. Okay, they do make the window, quite luckily, and since the Wraith doesn't have bamboozle, it's not going to be as quick of a tag, but nevertheless it is going to come through. Just anyways, this is a fast fall. That doesn't really matter, as this chase does continue upstairs on the 5 side. So it is going to be a much later tag than the previous trial, but they do know also the location of the totems, and Bloodfavor is going to come in again. Huge clutch, gets that down before the pallet can be can be upright again, and potential pallet save was in the books for Hadria, but I think Fast is just going to take this hook and take the risk, take the gamble that Hadria would not sacrificing Jet Pressure for that. So that's going to be, again, fairly early first hook. Unfortunately, no Pain Resonance for Fast, but they can potentially get the Pain Resonance on the next hook of Tori, if that does happen. But I'm going to assume the Tori's going to get rescued anyway, as Fast does rotate back to this top side, tries to catch out the generator that's being worked, does find it, and does catch Rocket again with the flashlight, going for the safe pre-drop, just gives the pallet away just like that, and you know, avoids the tag, but at the cost of that pallet being broken quickly. That's going to be the unhook coming in through very fast, as Fast does come back to try and catch himself, and actually has found Artori in a really bad spot. I don't think they make anything here, so Survivor should come in to take a body blocker, surely, to try and conserve more time in this chase, but no, it is just going to be a Fast second down onto Casco, as Fast does look to this Pain Res. The first gen does pop in the background though, that must have been Tavo's gen on the ace, and Rockets is going to be interrupted as a result, thanks to the Pain Resonance now being used. So I feel like, yeah, this game is going much better for our Survivor side, because this second generator is going to be completed. Potentially if this second generator had not had as much progress, then there could be trouble, but now Casco can still sit on the hook for much longer, and there's like another 50 seconds left on here. Tavo is going to get caught out. A free tag is going to be given away to Fast, but that's it. Again, that generator is also very high progress, and Fast is kind of running out of time to secure this kill. And this is going to be the unhook coming in. Rocket forced to take the body block for Casco. Will allow them to make a little bit more distance, but not enough actually to make it all the way to that upside 11 pallet, and Fast actually trying to cut off the rotation to the generator with some progress, but no, this gamble's completely backfired, as Rocket is going to get caught out, but again, still has the safety of this God 11 pallet. Actually decides to preserve it, trying to play 50s on this 10 corridor room, and actually just goes for the window, so Fast is going to lose all that tunnel out pressure and get nothing in response for it. So he really needs to find the Tori now. Like, I'm not really sure where they would stealth in this place, but does find the 8s instead, and Fast is just going to decide to give up the tunnel out just for the time being to try and secure the pressure elsewhere, and does win the 50-50 on the library pallet, so we'll be able to secure the third down of the game and the second Pain Resonance. But that Tori is still alive, and I was going to say Tori is going to get reset. So, third hook, 3 gens left. You know, quite a lot of the gens have good pressure on them, so Fast again is under quite a bit of pressure to get this 4K1. So we have to see again how our Survivors will decide to play this, but Rocket is going to get kind of caught out here on this bad pallet, and I'm not really sure there's going to be too much time he can buy here. There's going to be a safe drop coming through, and that's going to be a break coming through from Fast. I'm very surprised by that, because now Rocket can quite easily make this pallet in the bathroom. Does buy a bit more time with the vaults, and potentially can make it upstairs, but I think this is going to be the 4th down of the trial coming through. I don't think Rocket can do much here, except just buy a little bit more time. He actually might make this. No, forces the locker instead, as the third generators pop in the background. But this is a very ideal death location, and you can see here that the trade for this down is going to be, again, that third generator and a reset as well in the background. So Survivors are really chilling, I guess, in a really nice spot to get this 4K1. And Fast is gonna again kind of not find anyone just right away. Does spot the outside being worked here. This courtyard is going to be potentially abandoned. I'm not entirely sure, but Adam's not going to make this pallet. Does an immediate 180, sorry, not 360. There's an immediate 180 away from that, and it's actually just going to result in, I believe, in a 2-tap. It might make the filler here if it did spawn, but I think it did not. So Snow's going to be the 4th Pain Resonance. Actually, 4th Pain Resonance? Sorry, 3rd Pain Resonance, since I believe Rocket did not get Pain Res. So 3rd Pain Res of the trial. Regression does come through, but it's still a 4v1, so essentially it's going to be hard because of the 4v1. So the reset also comes through onto Rocket. So again, Fast should have an idea on where everyone is, but
again, the time is ticking, and any kind of information that's given away from our survivors, like right now, Ace is communicating. The Wraith is on me, is on this top corridor here on 12 and going to commit for attack. I think anyway, maybe I'm wrong because they're not looking back anymore. But yeah, any time that information is going to be given away, then the survivors can go make a very, very safe move. Chloe's going to be here playing this pallet, wins a 50-50 and continues this chase. I believe this is on the top 5 area, so I'm not really sure what generators around here, but it's more than enough time to get the unhook and, the rotation coming through from our survivors. So, again, we're kind of in a bit of a spot here because I'm not entirely sure what Hadria decides to do. Going to send in a tank to stop the tunnel out from happening immediately as Fast actually breaks away from this chase, which I'm not entirely sure whether that was the correct decision, but again, the pressure's on, and it's, I don't know, like, in Fast Mind, you don't really want to allow another generator to pop, because in a 4v1, like, if one more generator pops, it's going to be fairly difficult to protect the last 3, but does find the Adam instead, and will secure this hook on bottom 7, which I don't think is a pain resonance, so it's just going to be a second stage for Adam as Tori gets reset in the background. And yeah, this I guess this gen split is pretty manageable though. Now I'm looking at it, we have a bit of downtime. We have Courtyard, we have that generator on, I believe that was 7 down. We also have like this 10 corridor on upstairs and also like 11. So like relative 4 generator on this top side of the map, 4 gen spread, but it's still separated by this top floor kind of hurdle that our Wraith has to go all the way to the stairs to, get to. So Ace is going to get tagged here. Not really much I think they could do here, but Rocket's going to be found as well as the unhook comes in. So again, Fast knows where everyone is, but has to make a decision who to commit, what to commit to. He does commit for a tag onto Rocket, who I believe is the last pain resonance, so that could be a bit of real estate cha-ching for Fast to take advantage of. But again, this is just buying more time for our other survivors to get the reset or get a generator done, and Fast kind of looked backwards to the hook, maybe considering going back, but does actually just want to secure the down onto Rocket, as Rocket actually continues to play out this library. Very dangerous here is Rocket. This is very dangerous territory, but we're in the 50-50 on the library palette, and Fast is going to be leaving this. That is not what they wanted from that interaction, because again, look at how far up Rocket is from this fortune. Actually, Rocket's going to get caught out. Has to play more 50-50s here. Does lose it, unfortunately. Oh, did he make? Oh, he actually makes the pallets? Oh my god, and does go down on it, but again, that's more than enough time away from the 4-gen to at least secure, double, like a good amount of pressure coming in, but Payman is going to set that back by just a little bit. I believe that generator is extremely close to being finished, but Courtyard, again, not being touched, so definitely these other generators have to be very close to being completed. So yeah, they're just, I believe, splitting the 2 downstairs ones, maybe the upstairs one too, but it's going to be, I believe, the 5th kick coming in on this 2 down gen as the reset, the unhook does come through. Does actually lose the survivor here on 4 corridor, so good stealthing, but does find them back again on this pallet, and unfortunate little attack given away from Adam, as he does force to play this window. I don't really know if they have that much there. I don't think he should fast fold. I don't think he should hold that, because yeah, blocks off now, and he can't play the pallet and can get hooked. Actually, he's just going to be his death coming in. So Snoz is going to be the first to die in this trial, and there's still yet to pop the 4th generator. So Fast could actually secure the win condition here, but just as I say that, of course, Ace is going to be on this 5. Oh, okay, I guess that was on the bot side and not the 4. But they did not get that done in time, and Taro's going to do a nice little juke there to secure a bit more time for that other generator to be worked on. So definitely like potential for Fast to go for 4K2. Maybe not anymore, because that gen's being doubled to secure the Tycon. But yeah, our survivors conversely, they can just go for the win con now, I believe, because that generator is extremely close to being done, and Fast has to be very worried about that. So has to try and commit for bad chase. I think Rocket's going to go to the top side to the death spot. Yeah, you can see that. Doesn't want to go interrupt the reset. So yeah, things definitely could go wrong for Fast. Actually, I'm totally just working the generator and going to give away a tag for it, I believe, as they do go away from that. But I think Rocket's here for the rotation, playing extremely aggressive for that, trying to bait the Wraith potentially, but no, okay. Our Wraith is one step ahead, does catch out Rocket here on this 5 area, and it's going to result in a trade. Our ace does get picked up, but I don't know how much distance our 2 survivors here have anymore, because you can see here, okay, forcing a locker. Yeah, we can see here there's like no pallets, and they were zoned thanks to the window. So I think this is just going to be 4K1. I don't think Casco can do anything amazing. Or realistically, like, game-changing. It all kind of depends whether Rocket has tenacity. But seems like Fast is... Okay, Fast does find Tori, so that should just be a 4K1 being secured. Which is, yeah, impressive. Fairly impressive considering the start, which Rocket got the tunnel out at 2 generators left. So did Fast, but those first few chases did not result in the tunnel out as early, and those generators were extremely close to being done. You could see like the ace was only like 3 to 5 seconds away from completing that generator, and if that generator was done, of course, that would just have secured Hadria the win, but it was not enough. So Fast is going to secure the 4K1 tie, and we will go on to set 2 with no team having the set point advantage. So set 2 is going to be Dark Lord. This is Orison's pick, and Dark Lord, I've actually not seen the recent developments of Dark Lord thanks to my little break, but last time I was in the loop for Dark Lord meta, I was extremely regression based and not really that many hexes, not really that many chase perks, because just Dark Lord's just like that. But we'll have to see what Orison can cook up on the killer side, because they're playing killer first. They would have picked it for a very good reason, and Rocket might bleed out here, but I don't think it matters at all. So potentially if he gets hatch, okay, no, it doesn't change that much. So yeah, pretty clean 4K1. Sorry, pretty clean 4K1 for Orison, and that is going to push us to the awaited Dark Lord. So I'll be waiting for that one. I want to see, because Dark Lord sets can be extremely varied in terms of results. But again, we'll just go to a quick intermission as we get that set up for you all. So yeah, we'll be right back just after that. Yo, welcome back everyone to Blood Rush League Season 3. This is going to be Orison now taking the Dark Lord, their pick on what I believe is Mother's Dwelling, which I am just as surprised as you are to find myself on this realm and this map, as Fast actually does find a very fast first chase onto our app here. So yeah, fairly standard build, as I was saying previously. I was going to expect the quad slowdowns, but actually it turns out that agitation is going to be the pick here for Fast, as our tap is actually buying a bit of time here. Does try and juke out the Bats form here pretty successfully around this smaller main building. So we can see here, just for the start of this trial, Collapse nearly gone, and it seems like tap is going to be not a bounce landing, so that's going to be first down secured. Just barely a minute into this trial, which I think is honestly around average from the last time that I was seeing Dark Lord on other maps. So I'm not entirely sure how the set will play out with this downcoming triple generator. There's no way to triple the first generator to get it done. That is crazy. No, I that has to be tripled. There's no way that first generator pops for that chase. That's actually crazy, bro. Yeah, you can see 2 survivors around here. I think the last one was potentially stealthing on a generator. So, jeez, oh my god, that is some sick stuff coming through from Hadria. But it is still gonna be the same problem with an early down coming through, as Fast does get a nice little dog a bite through this main building window, and does spot out a rocket here on the top side gen, but I think has to just leave to secure a tunnel out to try and secure best result. So that's gonna get found again. Not really that much to play off. I think potentially he has DH or something, or just trying to bait out some little undetected. Maybe it's actually a decisive strike. I mean, decisive strike I wouldn't have assumed was the play, especially since Rocket was trying to hang around for a flashlight save. So very aggressive play coming through from our survivor side, and it is just going to be Rocket getting down as well, as Fast actually does not pick up Rocket, decides to instead go back to try and find out Tap, who is on the pallet now. I don't know if they will go for the pallet save or Hadria, but I don't think anyone is there to go for it. So this is unraveling very, very quickly for Hadria, as our Tap goes to the second hook. That first gen, I agree that first gen I think comes as a bit of a shock to everyone, especially our killer, but now they've recovered really well. Has an injury and a down on top of the second hook secured, and can pretty much just camp this out really safely. Sees the Adam in the distance as well, so Snoz can't even get a fairly free unhook, and yeah, Fast just looking just looks extremely strong here, camping this 9 area of the map. 3 area, sorry, my clock is wrong a little bit. So I'm not entirely sure what our survivors want to do here, because with the current situation, it's not really much they can do to like stop a 4K. It's just how many generators can they get done before that 4K comes in. Like I would assume that like surely the survivors go for power save here, and Rocket does in fact try and go for it. Unfortunately, the vacuum didn't come through in time, so that, yeah, okay. Well, chat, I think we're looking at potential of a 4K call coming in. At least Tabo does get reset though for this kill. Rocket again going to be trying to call towards the top side, and it's still free hook coming in for Fast. So first kill of 4 generators, the double reset comes through, but it's still extremely rough for the survivor side, because again, as a survivor side versus killer side, I don't know how players view it nowadays, but trying to go into a killer side having such a tough win condition of like 4K3, 4K4 territory, that is extreme. Is that deception? Wait, no. I think that's just my eyes deceiving me. So yeah, looking like a 4K4 now, because that is forceless locker. Will spell a bit of pressure. It will cause the killer from Hadria to, feel quite a lot of pressure to try and perform. They might even try, just give up the set, but I think out of the comp sportsmanship, we will see it being played out. But again, I'm very doubtful that a set is going to be a generator is going to be completed in the meantime. But Tavo is Fast is not able to find anyone here on this edge map, and I guess that's just pretty good for our survivors, because they were just cranking the generators. Let's find this one, pumping a little bit, so we'll kick it quickly. But there's still another one being worked, I believe, in the background. Yeah, Rocket is on the other one with with the injured. Yeah, being injured, he's on this here, and Snow's going to take a tag for this, and I think all our survivors are trying to do now is to force out the final, the third generator, the second generator. Oh my gosh! Again, maybe a little bit of the coming back to casting happening for me, but yes, I think they should only maybe get the second generator done if Fast goes to the pain res, which does seem like they make it in time thanks to agitation. I don't even know if this second generator does pop, so Tavo hits second stage. Fast should know that this generator is being committed, and I don't think Rocket will get it in time. Yeah, there's the agitation coming through, getting that extra 18% speed. Does find Rocket, and we will just head into our second half of the Dracula set with a 4K4, everyone. So yeah, now Hadria's killer has to try and go for 4K4, which I don't think I've ever seen before in at all on Dark Lord. I've seen a couple of 4K3s quite a fair amount of 4K2s, 4K1s, but 4K4 I think is fairly unheard of coming into this. So Hadria will have to cook something up. I'm not entirely sure who will be playing or what kind of build they will be cooking, but we will be finding out after a short intermission. So good luck to Hadria as we go to a quick break. Alright everyone, welcome to set 3. Now, I think as everyone is fairly aware, this is not the Dracula coming in from Hadria. This is in fact the unknown. That is because Hadria has decided to forfeit the second set of the Dracula because it was 4K4. So we're just moving on to unknown now as Rocket does take this first chase. David actually manages to evade the first UVX here. Actually goes for a bit of a dodge and gets the nice vault here onto Shaq. So nice first chase coming through for our survivor side as the Shaq pallet is going to be thrown for this. But yeah, got a bit of interesting build coming through. I would have been pretty shocked, I think, a year ago if someone brought this build to an unknown set. But it's going to be a nice little snipe here for Rocket on this 5 edge gold pallet as actually, Rocket's deciding not to treat it like a gold pallet because of the UVX infection. So Laurie is going to take a UVX to the back. I don't think that was really that avoidable. And this chase will continue on the top side. So yeah, the perk that I was kind of alluding to was the use of Bamboozle. Now, I think, again, around a year ago when the Unknown was released, I think Bamboozle was like never like even considered. But I think potentially because of like all the setups that can happen on this map, potentially due to the RNG, Bamboozle is Rocket's safer pick. That would be what I guess is the reasoning behind it. But anyway, that first down does come through. He's yapping a little bit because of Bamboozle. As they do go for a bit of a snipe onto our David. It will land and force him to cleanse it eventually. As again, another survivor is going to be spotted out, essentially rotating for the save, and they're not leaving scratch marks and visually are not near the save. So yeah, wise to leave that as the first generator does pop. But yeah, this is kind of panning out to be a pretty typical unknown match, apart from the bigger Bamboozle. But yeah, pretty typical first gen pops. Second gen actually pops. So maybe a little more atypical, but yeah, very good pressure from our survivors, and immediately we can see, I believe that was our ace. Yeah, our ace coming through, trying to get the safe unhook, and it does come through. They actually don't even get a trade for this, so this is very nice here for our survivor side. But Rocket actually misses the UVX here, wants to play around these tires, and the ace doing a beautiful job of body blocking to secure a little bit of time, a little bit more time for Lorry to make the bus, but I don't know if they make it. No, it is unfortunately a little bit too far away from this bus pallet. So the down comes through anyway, and oof, okay, there are suddenly I do notice like the injuries are you know, are quite a detriment to Orison, because yeah, look at this, ace is going to be caught out. I think that pallet was still up there on 5 edge, but did not want to zone themselves away from it, and they're going to lose a 50 on this rock filler and go down. So now I have to see what Rocket decides to do. I believe unknown, I think a lot of the counterplay for unknown has been solved in the past year and a half. So yeah, Rocket did not pick up though, and he did decide to slug. Tries to interrupt the save, but gets an unfortunate UVX into the rock actually, as our Lolly does head away from this, taking the final chase. They don't have Shack Pilot available. They still have a good amount of time to abuse the distance, so they're gonna just head back to this 5 area to potentially go for an FTP play, and David also goes for body block it. So now instead of going for an injured survivor who is a good amount away, now Rocket has to contend with our Lolly, who has now zoned themselves even with overcome. So okay, this chase definitely will go for longer, but maybe it's not as long as our team Orison would have hoped, as the TP does come through. Lolly goes for a safe pre-drop and unfortunately doesn't doesn't go decisive enough on that check spot. So there's going to be the down coming through, I'd say fairly early into the trial. I thought that start was extremely strong for Orison, getting those 2 generators done. But suddenly, with this pressure with the injuries, have kind of forced Orison back and, forced them to go for the reset, forced them to go for the pickup. And yeah, the generators, although, like, they're not done. Like they would be really high. Just as I say that, of course, the generators pop in the background on 4. But David is the one to spin burst, so he can play this out really nicely, holding that check spot really patiently. But unfortunately, does not make that in time, as we do see a TP away and server. No, not a server issue. Okay, we did see a TP away, and Jake was just on this matchstick style, just playing the 50s. Buying as much time for potential rotation to come through, but the attack's going to come through anyway, and yeah, this is not looking the best for our survivors anymore. So, yeah, and the TP there as well kind of forced that. So, at least the pickup does happen, but the cleanse of the oh my gosh, yeah, it's not going well. So the hallucination doesn't get cleansed in time. Ace goes down, and now David is the last one standing. The light does actually allow them to get away, so it was not actually spin burst that got them away. But I don't think it matters anymore. Again, being the last one standing doesn't really you can't really make much happen here, surely, unless our David is the best chef on the planet. Look at this, playing the 50s on this paladin. I would probably have gone down here 50 years earlier, but our David's going for the beautiful, beautiful pre-vaults, knowing that the TP is behind them, so Rocket really doesn't want to miss on this swing, I guess. And the TP time, the TP was Tech was on top of that and manages to get away from this. So, oh my gosh, the casino winner is Tech, as they do make it away to this filler here on the card tile. Even though the last chase, this is beautiful from Tech. By the way, should have talked about this before, but this is I believe this is the Voyalis David, kind of like the Voyalis David, but it's got the cap instead of the bloody head. So, a bit of reminiscing as well about that. I was seeing Dan stream from Portugal, and he was like talking about one of his moments from before. It's like, who is the killer? One of the most iconic things from his YouTube. But yeah, he is like doing a bit of explaining on that. So nice to relive a bit of that. As this chase goes on. But yeah, that's a beautiful chase in Tech. Again, unfortunately, it's not going to get Orison out of this 4K2 scenario. But yeah, 4K2, I think nowadays is on the high end for unknown for the killer. So I think Orison might be might be up for a bit of a challenge here in this third set. So yeah, Rocket just needs to try and secure these fresh hooks, which I believe there are 2 more fresh hooks. Does just go back and hook the David, so that's going to be the first of the 2 fresh hooks, because the bleed out on the fresh hook will result of the fresh hook being lost. So I believe Jake is the second fresh hook, so if we cannot find the Jake, that could be a bit of trouble. But I'm looking at the hooks now. Maybe all 3 survivors are actually fresh here. So yeah, Rocket needs to try and find our ace to secure the clean 4K2, and I'm just gonna be looking around the map, but our ace is already crawled all away to this 4 side, so time's kind of running out for Rocket. So it's only like, I'd say 20 to 30 seconds left on that bleed out time, and Rocket's still trying to double guess and second guess himself around this one area of the map, but it's heading down. So I think Dave on the ace might just get spotted out in time before the bleed out comes through. So yeah, that's going to be clean 4K2 coming in from Rocket. Very nice gameplay. I think like that, those like few UVX shots early on, like that one onto Lorry on the old truck right here, that was a beautiful bounce to secure that first tag. And well, second UVX tag, so first tag. And then just a couple more around, and the teleports just really, really changed the pace of this game. So, yeah, tough task ahead of Orison. We'll have to see what their killer can do. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. Alright, everyone, welcome back to set 3 of... Oh my gosh, I was gonna say... Let me restart. Welcome back to set 3 of Hadria versus Orison. Now, we did just see Rocket from Hadria get a 4K2 on the Unknown, which is fairly impressive. Not as impressive as the Dark Lord 4K4, which you saw Fast get from Orison, but still, I think it's going to be fairly challenging for Fast to meet the win condition. So, yeah, 4K1 now is a win condition for Fast if no penalties do occur, and that is... Sorry, 4K1, 4K3 is the win condition. I'm online still, but a little bit getting used to getting back into casting. Whatever, we're in it now. Snoz takes the first chase. That's going to be a fairly safe, clean break of this 9 pallet and a fairly safe UVX tag to follow it up. So, not really sure what Snoz has around here. Looks like a pallet gym, which is fairly unsafe. Yeah, Snoz has to go for the jukes here. Does get the pallet drop in time though, but they are very, very zoned here on this edge, edge 6. Or actually, I call this 6. I believe they're Europe. The other people, the other normal comp players who are not from OCE, I believe they call this corner 3 or corner 9, one of the two. So, yeah, that's going to be a faster first down for Fast compared to Rocket. And despite the faster first down though, the first generator is going to pop faster than the previous trial, assuming that was doubled, that Shaq, we followed the double or nothing rule. That means there's another generator with around 50%. So Fast should kind of have a bit of knowledge of what's going around here on the Wrecker's Yard. Should potentially go for a UVX tag around here, but Survivor here is doing a wonderful job just juking it out. Yeah, that's Tavo on the ace, just, you know, out-pathing, trying to out-juke the UVX shots as Fast does kind of run away, tries to interrupt. I believe that could have been Rocket there on the generator, but immediately teleports back to try and force this tunnel out. So we do find the BT hit coming through onto Snoz. That was actually Rocket getting the hook, not... that was Rocket getting the unhook. Not a tap, and yeah, Snoz is going to be pathing towards Shaq, so should be able to pretty much unzone themselves at this point in time. That's kind of the rule on Wrecker's Yard. You drop Shaq, you can pretty much unzone yourself. But yeah, Fast's gonna continue this. Does go for the double back, so allows Snoz to make more distance away to this top side, but seems like Snoz is going to take the UVX tag. So with that little bit of information, now Snoz kind of has to play this 4 lane here. That was the only bit of safety around. So does get the juke out, but definitely does not make the window here, as we do see the second generator, and we do see a little bit of a wild rocket. That's a third generator coming through actually, and that is the tie condition already met for Hadria. So considering that there's an active ruin and an undying up, it's not out of the question that Fast could go and still play for this tie condition. But again, there's still 4 survivors left in the trial. Only one of them now is UVX tag, but the rest of them, they're healthy. They do not have the weakened status effect. And even though our ace does get tagged here again, Fast has to make up their mind whether they go for the pain resonance on our fresh hook, or whether we go for our ace here, which does seem to be the case. Go back to the tunnel out, which does not seem to be the case. So Tavo does get down there, not really much they could do. Actually, the slug comes through from Fast, trying to interrupt the reset onto Snoz. But it seems like Snoz has completely disappeared into the depths of Wrecker's Yard. Loud noise notification does come through. Do see Rocket running away thanks to the Undying, but again, still no signs of our Adam. Actually, Adam, is that Adam? Yeah, it is Adam actually. Again, Undying getting a bit of value here on the broken oil truck, as Fast does try and go for a bit of a juke. Actually predicts, I believe that was a prediction on the life off the window, and does get huge rewards from that. Does get the UVX and the M1 through that, but now Snoz again is zoned away from everything. Does get last pixeled by that, but Rocket's here! That was Rocket, right? That Rocket on the flashlight, gets the flashlight save, and saves the day for Snoz, I guess, as the chase does continue. Now Fast, again, in a predicament. They can go for the tunnel out, or they can try and defend the generator to drop all the way across the map. So I really do not think that Fast can achieve both here. So I think, yeah, it's just going to be Hadria popping a generator, right? Because they should be doubling it. So yeah, Fast actually recognizes this, does leave both our injured survivors on this top side to go try and find this out. But no, that's the double generator coming through around this. That was bus, right? Yeah, bus. Just somewhere near bus, and that's going to secure the victory in set 3 for Team Hadria. So we are going back to the Wraith on Midwich to fight it out and the next trial because yeah, tiebreaker is not enough. We have to go to the tie after the tiebreaker to tiebreak the tiebreak. So Snoz's going to be taking the chase though. Does actually make a way and Jiggy towards this top side, and they do have a 4 lane to play with. Runs through it though. It still has, I believe, its power is still up because the ace didn't drop it before, but he just goes down on it, and expecting one of our survivors to be here. Would I be right or wrong? I mean, surely they will because they're healthy. So yeah, we do find a Rocket here on the cheeky little fixated. She is walking. Actually is walking, potentially preserving a 99 spin burst. But I did see that, and there's a little bit of nice tech. Maybe Rocket can hit the power save now? No, okay, he was a little bit too late, but nice to see that happen anyway. So I believe the last generator should pop soon. Painter has got absolutely no value this trial, and we're going to be looking at 3 stages, potentially going into this endgame. Actually, no, this generator gets interrupted in time, and Tavo cannot get away without a tag being inflicted onto him. So Fast actually just going to commit to this because it's close to the generator, but again, this is just going for fresh hooks at this point in time. If a kill did occur onto pretty much anyone left in the trial, it would just secure 6 stages, which is, I think, a bit more of the result that I was expecting from Unknown in 2025. But Fast's gonna lose the 50-50 here on this edge map. Rockfiller continuing to chase though is Tavo, and that's the last gen popping. No adrenaline was actually seen on our survivors, so actually it's still again maybe recoverable for maybe slightly more than 6 stages, but I think our survivors are just somehow they're staying all around the same spot while also being far away from each other, which is kind of, yeah, it's kind of difficult to achieve if you try it yourself, you know. But Vodka's going to be taking the tag and just making his way down the map, and you know, allowing the other survivors to get out of the trial, I believe. But Fast opened the long locker, so Vodka can get away from this, and maybe he gets Hatchy. I think that's a potential hatch coming through, but Rocket, no, he actually leaves the area and kind of understands that, and actually nearly juked that out, so nearly potentially got away with a 3 stage, but unfortunately the hatch would not have spawned in time, I guess, and yeah, 6 stages it is instead of the 3 stage performance. So anyway, what's done is done. We're going back to Wraith on Midwich, and our 2 killers for this series, Rocket and Fast, are going to fight it out yet again to try and decide the decider. So we'll be right back. I'm going to be expecting some very similar Wraith builds, but we'll be right back after a short intermission as we get those matches set up for you. So yeah, we'll be back after Rockets get set up. Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Wraith set. Yes, we are back on Midwich with the Philip Ojomo running around in the cloaked form, trying to go for a little bit of a first free tag. So Rocket's gonna be the first one, kind enough to do so for Rocket. Oh, sorry, Murtex is. I assumed that Rocket was not going to be playing Killer first, but I was wrong. So I guess Murtex is just going to get the free 2-tap here on this 5 down, and that is again a very, very fast early down here for Rocket, who is not in fact our Jake, who is in fact a Killer, and a very, very fast Pain Resonance to start off the trial. So we do have a slight bit of build change. So for anyone out there who recalls me saying that Wraith has been taking a little bit of a turn in very recent times, I guess Rockets are back to the old little bit of meta. Look at the regression that we have here on this build. Of course, we did see the Blood Favor come in, and that's kind of why Blood Favor is sort of broken sometimes. But I believe Lori is going to be giving away a free tag, but no one actually obeyed that that swing there from Rocket. So that is a nice little 50-50 one, which is, I guess, potentially why Rocket decided to leave that and just check the hook. But Lori's already away from that situation, and Neo got powered. So yeah, Rocket did not get that much out of it. Survivors are still probably sticking generators, but you can see this one's going to get interrupted. So yeah, it's still pretty chilling for survivors at the moment. But things could turn pretty quickly if the free tag's given away. So Dave's going to be the first to complete the generator on the chemistry room. I believe the call out for that is 12 up. And Rocket has to decide what to do. Murtex is going to hit second stage, so I'm not sure if that... Not sure how. I feel like his hook should have lasted longer than that. But at the same time, the first down was really, really early. So Rocket is going to potentially commit a tag here, but going to lose out on it. Claudette there just running away from that setup means that it should be very safe on hook and very free continuation of that generator for them. But Dave is, I think, maybe calling out Rocket's position or just staying around here for a potential hit take for Jake, because no, that is going to be the call out. And Dave's going to be continuing on this body block. So Rocket's still looking like in a very solid position. Dave's doing a nice job of body blocking, so we'll take an immediate 180 away from this as Murtex is still on the last chase here. Does find the nice window around here. Of course, Bamboozle is not being brought for our Wraith, so forcing Rocket to play this out, and actually it's going to result in the swing and the miss coming through from Rocket. So that is not ideal, I would say, because that's just, again, more free time, and Murtex kind of allowed himself to reach the power again. But despite this, is going to go down with a very, very similar result to the previous Wraith trials, with 2 generators remaining. This is going to be our first kill of the trial. So now the question becomes, is this build going to fare any better? Is it going to be any different to the previous trial? Because we still have the Shadow Dance, we still have the Swift Hunt, but there is a change into the Pop and Eruption, which I believe in the 3v1 is just going to be completely devastating for our survivors. But seems like Rocket's actually a little bit more concerned about trying to zone our survivors, so actually forcing the body block to like kind of like a bad spot here, and then Nancy actually goes for the incorrect drop, but it results in Rocket swinging. So I think the down should occur now, and the 4th hook of the trial will actually 3rd hook, because Murtex hit 2nd, but the 4th hook of the trial, whatever, 4th hook of the trial will be coming through onto Dave. So yeah, nice little conversion there from Rocket, but it's still looking very similar to the previous trial, where if he goes for an overcommit onto a survivor, then there's potential for a generator to pop, which did happen. So Lori's running around like getting the save. I was going to say head is chicken, but going to get the save. Tech is actually stealthing, and I'm going to assume that our survivors are also going to try stealthing around here. No, okay, Tech's going to get back on the generators. Nancy goes for this. We're looping with friends around here on Midwich, but it's not really, I think, much for them to do except to try their best on themselves. But no, Dave's actually just going to continue this chase around this 11 filler and playing it really, really patient. Again, kind of understanding that greed is necessary in this situation, but unfortunately just dies to, I believe that was the bloodlust coming in. So it's going to be a 2nd hook for them, but fortunately that means no pain resonance since they have already been hooked before. So Tech's generator is approaching that 50% mark, and Rocket does manage to interrupt it in the courtyard. So I think this generator is just going to go all the way back to 0 thanks to Pop and Eruption. So yeah, in this 3v1, my instincts tell me it's going to be a 4k2, but again, don't quote me on that, because anything can happen. We saw in the last time, I believe Tech just bought like an entire 30 seconds on the 7 piano room filler, which is again regarded as like a death palette. But I think this time Rocket is not going to get baited into a bad chase as the break of the door actually comes through. I think Fast was a little bit slow on the reaction there off the generator and should result in a down coming through. Actually, Rocket's still cloaked, so yeah, no, this down is not going to be coming through thanks to this filler above here, but going to be able to connect it to the window and force the vault from Rocket. So I'm actually curious to see what Rocket does here. Goes for the swing and the miss onto Fast, and again, good ping saving our survivor here in this situation, and potentially again this is the chase which Rocket did not want to get baited into. It's like, well, miss a swing there. I don't want to commit to this. Maybe it's like a bit of deja vu from the previous trial on that 7 piano room, but seems like the chase gonna get picked back up onto a low. He gets down through the pallet on like the library off area and kind of forces out this 3v1 into a slugfest. And Rocket, I'm surprised at his confidence at trying to find the survivors, and I mean, because they're injured obviously it's like easier, but Tech is, wait, what are we seeing here? Okay, I mean, Tech just ran away and Rocket just left the chase, and potentially I had no idea what just happened there, but sure. Techs are gonna get out of that for free, and Rocket kind of gets nothing from slugging that. And wait, the cogs are turning in my head. Potentially, what Rocket was going for, man, I think he's baiting the pickup and then trying to catch out the death hook, and then trying to eliminate that survivor to force a 2v1. But I mean, that gamble completely did not pay off. As we can see here, the survivors are just, yeah, nowhere to be seen. Rocket's checking what I think is the wrong side of the map, and yeah, well, okay, he's getting somewhat closer though to the positions of our survivors. You can see the reset coming through in the background, but assuming they're on a pallet, they actually do find a Claudette around the house around here, and they do drop the pallet on the wrong side. Doesn't really matter though, as Rocket probably would have gotten the down anyway. Unlike the previous trial, which if you recall again, the survivor got out of that situation, but Rocket's going to drag this all the way to a pain resonance with this nice down in the pocket. So that's pretty much going to secure that all the generators will be on 0%, but Tech actually wiggles off. Hello? That, again, that's a huge mistake coming through by Rocket. I had a bit of a concern that maybe he wouldn't make it, but I thought, yeah, there was potentially enough distance, you know, to make it safely. But we do catch, I believe that's a lorry here. Does get the body block off on the window of this Rocket, so it does take the 3-on-1 now. But this is a much better position for our survivors to be in to get that fourth generator done. As just like a bit ago, like we were just looking at 2 injured, 1 slugged, and now we're looking at 2 healthy, 1 injured. So yeah, the math checks out. They've increased by 3 health states, and Rocket needs to try to start trying to cut that down as quickly as possible. They do actually pick up, I believe, on an injured survivor's trail, but Rocket's again playing very indecisive. Does actually drop down to try anticipate a cutoff, but survivors again completely gone from that, going up the corridor instead of going downstairs. So we have to work again from scratch to try and find survivors yet again. So wow, does find out Nancy though, and this is again a death pallet to come through. Rocket, I think, yeah, definitely don't drop this pallet on that side because you're gonna get zoned. And Rocket should take this M1. I don't really, okay, I'm not sure about the vault, but I don't think it matters too much anyway, as Nancy does take the final chase of their time in this trial. They do potentially make this pallet. It's gonna be close, but they do actually make it safely. So this is just, again, more and more time being bought out. Just like this slight little distance being lost means that this pallet's being made, and continue this abuse of the setup. And I think some 50-50s are going to be forced to be played here, but Rocket does finally win it and get the down. But look at that full generator. Look at it in the distance. It's being doubled, and it's going to secure at least a 4K1 coming through by Orison. So again, real interesting kind of turnout of events, because I would have thought Rocket was for sure getting a 4K2 with that situation from before with the slug and the 2 injuries, but then suddenly although that he's managed to reduce it to a 2v1, he's lost a generator in the process. So I think that was potentially not on his plans, as Lorry does take the next chase. You do have this power to play with, but I think that loss of distance there with the vacuum might be enough for Rocket to get the down, and it is going to be down one through the pallet, and potential slug coming through. But no, again, Rocket's just going to play safe and go for the pickup. Maybe not wanting to dilly-dally longer to try and find tech. So yeah, that's going to be third first hook of the trial, 7th stage secured, and we will have to move on to try and locate the pesky Claudette, who has kind of been evading a lot of the action this trial. But I think now is, of course, going to be the time to step up. They actually went all the way around, I think, to go for this unhook, but it's hard for me to tell thanks to the camera angle. Actually, our race just on the back on the 6th side, and Vok actually goes for a bit of a ambitious swing to try and get through the body block, but it's not going to work out. Vok should be able to get a tag onto a Claudette, which should pretty much be wraps, because when you got 2 injuries, they're much easier to locate. So yeah, Claudette's going to take the next chase. I don't really think Fast can do that much with the time that's being bought here for Claudette. They do have this bad pallet, but again, emphasis on bad. I don't think it's going to make too much happen there. Actually, nearly wins a 50-50, but Rocket gets the hit through the pallet, and Lowry just has to, you know, be in the background, groaning away with the grunts of pain, feeling pretty bad with that, and I think that's just gonna, that's just gonna be it. So, accepting the 4K1 does Orison. Wait a minute. Wait, what? Okay. Rocket. Okay, Rocket. I thought he was gonna throw that and give away the hook for free, but yeah, 4K1 anyway for Orison. And that's same results as we saw in set 1 from both teams. So again, Fast will have to try and put on a performance to break the mold, break this trend of 4K1 that we've been seeing in tonight's games. So we'll be back after a short intermission. Perhaps Fast has similar plans to Rocket. Maybe they bring a similar build. Maybe they're still going to bring hexes, but we'll find out very shortly, because it is going to be Fast time to shine on the Phillip. So we'll be back. Stay with us. Okay. We're back with the Phillip Ojomo. The tiebreak. Well, actually, tiebreak the first set here. And actually do see Rocket taking the first chase very quickly. Fast is again in business here on the Wraith, and actually decides to leave. So previously we did see Rocket get a 4K1 on the Wraith, mirroring the 2 first trials of the Wraith, and potentially Fast is looking for the same bit of food on the menu. Maybe I should have said that. Maybe that's on his menu tonight. Maybe it's a 4K1 yet again coming in from Fast. But this is again a pretty early first tag coming through, and I believe this pallet does not unblock in time. It's going to be very close whether this build does make the pallet, but it actually does, and the pallet just unblocks in time on this 12 up area. So still has a fair good amount of time to potentially go through some dukes, but unfortunately won't make the pallet and will get down. So again, fairly fast chase coming through yet again, I might add, for our Wraith player, as we do see the triple split as to be expected on the bot side of the map. Anyway, first hook's going to come in and interrupt the highest progress generator thanks to pain resonance, and I will go take a quick look at the bottom right of the screen to explain yet again why Fast has brought these perks. So of course we have the pain resonance. That is just going to be nice regression, pretty much good on every single map, except potentially Midwich, but luckily I believe the Oak will make it easier to get pain res. So pain res, then we have triple hex. Pretty much they're all there to protect the blood favor. I believe blood favor is like the most important one. Haunted Grounds pretty much again just only there to protect blood favor. Ruins just a nice little addition, as Fast does take the free tag onto our tap. Actually heads back to the generator, potentially looking for scratch marks. on the staircase to catch an unhook, but realized there were none. So instead wants to commit to the tap, which not really sure how many resources they have around here. It seems like they're just going down immediately, trying to force a locker, which is the correct play to secure the unhook. And Snow's actually potentially hitting the second stage here. It's going to be fairly close, but not close enough, I think. So Hadria going to rescue that survivor Bill as the reset actually is going to be attempted. I don't know if it's going to come through in time. Rocket did have better than you, but that's not active because, of course, he's the one with better than you. So, but the reset actually does come through in time. That's really good because there is a filler around here too. And Rocket's going to try to take a little bit of aggro, but we're looping with friends yet again here on the mid-witch, and it's going to force actually a really bad pallet break from our killer. So, Bill's going to take the next chase, has a lot more distance to play with. Nice little controller movement there, and followed up with not the best fake of the fast vault, but Bill's going to take the tag, continue to play this. I don't think there's much yet. There's potentially a window vault coming through, but he gets mind gamed and goes down fairly quickly. But Snuz is actually in a bit of a safe spot, as Fast was expecting the flashlight save, which didn't come. So, second hook for our Bill. Snoz is going to be 70 seconds away from being sacrificed, but the generators are getting worked pretty aggressively on the stop side, and I would very much expect the next one to pop soon. So Tech's going to take a tag though for sitting on this generator for a little bit too long, and Roy's going to eat away just a little bit as Fast does potentially go for a bit of the time-based mind games. That's Rocket's gen, I believe. Was it Rocket's gen? or Quez gen as well, being popped in the background. And actually, no, it was Rocket's gen getting popped in the background. He does nearly make the pallet, but again, nearly is not close enough as the unhook does occur. Fast just goes immediately back to try and pressure and force the tunnel out onto our Bill. So potentially we see again another generator being completed from our ace, but this is potential problems coming in for our Bill because there's nothing really that strong around here anymore. The 11 pallet, I believe, is not dropped here. Taps are actually coming in to body block. That is a huge amount of distance being bought for our Bill, and Fast is gonna leave this and try and catch out our survivors instead on the other side of the map. I believe the Bill's on the other side of the other corridor of this map, and Fast maybe realizes this, tries to rotate back to the last position where he saw Bill, but no, actually catches the generator on bottom 12 instead, and might be able to secure pain resonance for his troubles. But seems like it's just gonna continue this slug, which has just started, and force Rocket into the 50-50 on this filler, and Rocket's gonna play it patiently. I think just patient enough makes a window, and this is huge amount of time being bought here off our survivor side, as Rocket still wins the 50s, does force the window down though, and does make the filler. So again, this bought enough time for our ace to get picked up, and Fast is gonna lead this chase. That was, wow, that commitment was gonna be a mistake. Well, the combination of the commitment and the leaving of the chase was a mistake, as ace actually gonna get reset as well for this as the pallet gets dropped. Should take a tag, but tag, 5 to 10 seconds later than it should have been, and we could see here that every bit of time is very valuable to this survivor team. All being injured, of course, but at the same time there's still 4 of them left in the trial, so give them just like 10 to 20 seconds of break, and then here come the resets, here come all of the injuries being healed. So you cannot afford to do that as the Wraith, and trying to instead force a down onto our survivors. Does catch our Bill. This is the prime target for our Wraith, and I don't think they make anything head on. I don't think it's going to be possibly set up around this room. So that is going to be finally the conversion onto Bill in this 4v1, turning into a 3v1, which will force our survivors into a very, very precarious spot, because now they have to pop the last generator, or they have to pop the 4th and last generator for the tie condition, and I don't know if they can do that, because we see 2 survivors here, and what Oh, they're popping another gen in the background. Okay, so the piano room generator is going to be finished for this hook here, but I don't know. Pain res is going to come in time because of that time waste. So yeah, that's the 7 generator popping in the piano upstairs, as 4K1 is potentially on the menu here again for fast, which would send us to the third replay, or the second, actually the second replay of the first set, the third iteration, but the second replay, thanks to how replay means after the first. But gonna be Rocket taking the next chase. It could actually have a bit of potential in this chase because this is very far away from the hook, and Rocket can just delay a little bit of time on this window. So that's the unhook coming in. I think Rocket's just gonna get hooked for the pain resonance though. Nothing really changes there, and that gen should be regressing down to 0. But our survivors are still in this trial. You can see here, okay, that generator is completely decimated back all the way to the 5% mark. But again, they're still in the trial, they're still up and standing, and when there is, well, at least one survivor up and standing, and this killer doesn't know where they are, there's always going to be a chance to come back. So Ace can be cooking here, does go and try and juke out, but Fast does get the short swing and re-down onto our Ace. So second stage for our Ace, I believe. Let me just check with the hook stage. No, first stage for our Ace. And survivors somehow managed to like get all the way across the map with those unhooks and kind of bought themselves a bit of time, but it seems like Rocket's going to get caught out alone here on this generator, and there's not really much that they can do to stop the down. So again, I think we're just looking at a 4K1. I just don't think, yeah, I don't think our tap can do everything by themselves. But it seems like actually going for the unhook onto Rocket, not onto our Ace, who is upstairs, and Fast isn't really aware of this, so actually, oh no, our tap was running past, and it seems like they're going for our Ace instead. So just what I'm saying is they're not going for the Ace. They do actually just do a bit of moonwalks for potential unhook. I think they're just accepting 4K1. They don't want to drag it out. So yeah, okay. Fair play, I guess, from our teams here. Honestly, I'm quite impressed by the like mutual respect that our teams have for each other. They're kind of accepting the fact that the trial does not really have to go on that much further. And we see that from Orison first on the raid set, you know, Larry dropping the firecracker, just walking in front of the hook. I think we also saw that on the unknown set, I believe, at the end of the 4K2. But yeah, now we're seeing it from Hadria's side, accepting the 4K1 and accepting the replay of the Philip Odromo, the second replay, as I will emphasize again. But yeah, we'll be going to a short intermission again as we get the third race set set up for you all. So aren't we going to be enjoying some more great raid gameplay? So anyway, we'll be back after we get that set up. Okay. Look who's been in the kitchen this fine morning. Should I emphasize morning in the 4 a.m. category? But it's gonna be Fast in the kitchen with the new pick of a perk. That's all I should say, I think, for the time being. Because if you haven't seen already, that perk is one of the least used perks ever in the entire game. But it seems like Rocket's going to be taking the next chase again. Wins a couple of 50s on this 11 pallet, and does also kind of win a couple on the 12 down as well. So that's going to be potential first hit coming through. Rocket's actually going to be cooking as well a little bit on this pallet. Don't stop him here, because that was a really nice delay of the first hit coming through. But it does come through anyway,
Third seal, sorry, not third seal. That was the perk which I've been questioning the entire time. Blood favor is going to be the perk which stops all the pallets. But it seems like our Wraith actually just wants to leave and catch out a different survivor. Perhaps Blood Favor is going to be a little bit more favorable in this area because maybe the 5 down does get blocked, but no, it seems like our tap runs away from it, forces to play the 60? This 6 up pallet instead, and actually kind of breaks away, maybe makes a vault. I don't think he has enough distance though to make that, so nice little fake to buy a bit more time. So that is going to be, again, a fairly delayed first down for our Wraith, but still fairly fast as pick occurs. I'm not going to expect the gen to be done because they should have triple split. Maybe Rocket's being reset in the background, but this is going to be the change. Is going to be the break over 4K1, potentially, as we do see that first generator pop in the background. So that was I was gonna say no doubt that was doubled, but it seems like this other generator has a lot of progress too. So I guess what happened is Rocket, instead of getting on generator, they doubled and then also went for the reset immediately after that generator's pop. So unfortunately, Fast is gonna get stuck on the chairs, which will prevent that Wraith from coming through onto our Ace. But Ace gets a nice little vacuum and Fast goes for the normal break. Surely they head back to Hook now to force this tunnel out, and that is going to indeed be the case. Trying to, force away this injury, trying to force away the tunnel out, but they're actually getting healed in this bathroom pallet. I don't know if they get healed in time. It's going to be close. They actually get down to the pallet. No, the ping is not going to be in favor for a tap, and that I think might just turn things around for our Wraith. What I thought was maybe going to be a little bit of problems now is going to be problems for our survivors instead. So that was just, yeah, that was whether bad, unfortunate, ping related, whatever you call it, that really should not have happened in the bathroom. Getting hit through the pallet was the last. Getting hit with the pallet also being dropped was just the last thing that should have happened, I think, in the bathroom. As Rocket goes to a very, very early unhook on the tap, and this is just going to be a tunnel out. One of the fastest tunnel outs, I think, in the game. Rocket also goes for a body block, but again, this Blood Favor is still up, and Blood Favor was actually still up during the down, so it doesn't activate, and tap gets hit through the pallet. So Rocket just gonna be taking it down for this. I don't think that was really necessary with this kill coming in at 4 generators. I don't really know. I guess what happened is they were breaking the trend of 4K1 only to increase it to what seems to me going to increase it to 4K2 or 4K3, as Rocket does get picked up after this this death, so it's going to secure another pain resonance for Fast as the second generator does get done. You can see, I think pain res did apply on the generator above the hook, so I don't think anything else is going to be close to completion, but Fast is going to be rotating to this 5 upside. Does see it regress with Ruin. Does sort of look around. I don't think they will find anyone though. They did stealth away fairly quickly. He's actually hiding behind the desks. Oh, and he's going to get found out. That's very unfortunate. But what could you expect trying to stealth on Midwich just behind the desks? So yeah, the unhook comes through. Fast has to make a decision. They will actually commit to the fresh hook, and that's just going to be another very, very fast down thanks to a bit of misunderstanding. So yeah, our survivors are not looking that great here. What I will say though is they still at least have a healthy in the trial, and that is a bit promising, but at the same time I think our healthy has just been spotted on this generator, so I don't really know what the plan is now, because our healthy will take a hit here, forcing Rocket to go for potential unhook. So yeah, I'm a little bit baffled myself, but anyway, it seems like Fast will decide to commit to this thanks to Blood Favor. It's going to be a little bit of 50-50s around here. I think Blood Favor is going to stay up in time, and that's going to be the down on Tori. Rocket, Jake has to go for the unhook pretty much. Actually, no, it doesn't. I think he's close enough. No, okay, no, he does go for it. And I think, yeah, things have just devolved very quickly after that death.
and I don't think the gens are going to be anywhere close to being done. Rocket does get caught out here, does try and play 50s here. Would be really, really nice if they could win this, but the pre-swing comes through from fast, and it's just, yeah, it just looks like shambles. So, yeah, Orison kind of showing up on the killer. Secures 4K3, does follow the scratch marks. I think should be just in time to at least trade off this pickup on Tori. But yeah, okay, yeah, that's no possible way that I can get it now. So 4K3 for Orison's killer. Rocket will have to strike back against this fantastic performance from Fast. I don't think again. I've not heard of 4K3 on Wraith, similar to I had not heard 4K4 on Dracula, but there's still potential. Rocket did get 4K2 on Unknown, so there's still potential. He just has to pull something out of the bag here because it is a very difficult win condition to go for, and yeah, this is just gonna look like a very clean 4K3. So yeah, really no room for kind of any error on Rocket's end. Actually, I think it's got to be better than no error. Kind of like perfect, like completely perfect game from Rocket. Might be able to secure a tie condition at best, but we'll have to see again after this after this trial because oh damn, we have something ahead of us. I think as the viewers and as a caster, we have quite the performance that is required for Rocket. So we'll be back to see if Rocket can, of course, get this this tie condition of 4K3. Maybe he does better. Going to be unlikely though. But we'll be back very shortly as we get that match set up. Okay, everybody. So, I've been talking about, cooking. Like the new terminology. People have been recently picking up the cooking, and then I've also been talking about how fast has been cooking on the Wraith. Well, look at what Mr. Rocket DVD has brought in for us tonight. What a treat of a build for us to witness. So, yeah, I guess we're just going to be going for the 4 slug game here as Rocket actually does win the 50. Doesn't manage to convert though on this. Claudette does win a couple of 50s on the pallet. Does buy more time. This is scary and Rocket loses. No, he loses that. And now the Claudette would have been able to chain all the way back into the other pallet just to buy more time. Potentially into the God pallet too. So that is going to be a chase well left by Rocket as he takes another tag onto Nancy. Start of his trial. 2 fairly fast tags, fairly quickly, but at the same time, it does mean that it left the survivor. They might get reset quickly. They might just go ahead and, sit a generator, double it out like the previous trial. But yep, now we can see the potential value of the build coming in, and I'm not entirely sure if any of our survivors have bought comp, but maybe we can get some check on that, but it doesn't really matter, I think, at this point, as Rocket actually goes for the swing down and tries to return to a survivor, maybe catching out in a rotation. Our Jake was apparently worth too much time there on that 12 upside there, or the chemistry room, as Laurie does take the next chase. It's going to be a little bit of the zoning game for Rocket, as they do actually vault the window, but unfortunately, again, there's not really much to be offered here, I think, from a survivor side. Lolly does kind of show themselves, but there's, of course, this bathroom pallet to be played out, and Rocket's forcing it out, but not breaking it. So, I believe, yeah, Rocket's still got a fairly tough time ahead of him. They do catch a Claudette, though, on this 11 down. That's going to be a nice pallet gone for the time being, and a nice fall comes through, just delaying this, but again, this is just time being bought. I don't think that's made, and Claudia can just continue looping. Again, maybe a bit of the problem with no shadow dance is, with no shadow dance means that you don't really want to break pallets. So Claudia's going to force a locker, understanding what the gameplay was on Rocket's side, just forcing the hook instead, and that's just more than enough time for generators to start flying. It was enough time for Lorry to get completely reset in the background. As it Lorry to Nancy, I believe, to get completely reset in the background. So yeah, things of course not looking good for our killer here, but at the same time, it was going to be difficult to achieve the 4K3. That is a nice start though, getting a tag onto Nancy, Dave, to start the pain train going yet again. But no one's around here in the library, and Rockets decided to commit a little bit around here to try and return the hook. So yeah, I really do not know what I would do in Rocket's position, because he's still got a very, very tough task at this point. Even finding Nancy, I don't think it'll be enough. We'll manage to get the down through the pallet and potentially goes for a pickup, but again, not seeing anyone on the infectious fight just sort of feels like a bummer, because it means that no one is gonna give away a free tag anytime soon. That's going to be a reset actually found out here, but Claudette does safely manage to make its piano room tower. I hope Rocket doesn't have any PTSD from previous chases from this, but seems like Claudette will give away the tag anyway since the death room pallet, and that is a swing and a miss from Mr. Killer here. So I'm not really sure that this course of action is going to get there to the 4K3, but again, I feel like it was worth a try for sure, as the swing does come through the pallet. Nancy's going to win it and going to make it back to the window, and this chase is already turning into quite a nightmare for our Wraith to take. Dave doing though, Dave and Nancy doing a good job of just delaying more time. Nice little fake there by a bit of distance. Actually, he faked twice. Dave faked that pallet twice. Faked running past it, and then also faked vaulting it, and then just made it all the way back to the window. That's going to allow the second generator to pop, and that's going to secure the tie condition with only 2 fresh hooks on the board. I think Rocket is not going to be able to claw this one back. Survivors just played sufficient enough to reach a win condition, which 4K3, 4K1, the difference, I guess, I think in most sets, like, I'd say is pretty large, but especially on a Wraith set, I feel like is much larger, because Wraith set, I think always those first few generators are going to go through quickly, like Dredge, but then after those first generators in the 3v1, that's when things slow down pretty much to a halt. You do see this generator getting committed. Nancy does make the pallet though, as Lolly's forced to take a hit. So that's 3 injuries on the board, so things could definitely go a little bit out of hand, but I think our survivors do know that the split map pressure should just be sufficient to buy enough time for each other. So it's going to be Jake getting interrupted here on this 11 down generator. They still, I believe, have this chemistry room pallet, and that's again a really big issue for Rocket on the killer, because that means that he just has to commit this tag, buys more time. Of course, you can't like go back after this, but actually trying a little bit of a mind game to try and get a free down. It actually works. Gets the infectious fight on 1 survivor on this bottom corridor of 10, but cannot really act on it because this other generator is of course being doubled, and that is going to be the win coming through from Orison. So yeah, pretty I think pretty deserved. I feel like a couple of mistakes on the Hadria survivor team, and I think like a couple of the sets it lead towards this, but nevertheless, Horizon's on top, taking away the 2-1 victory after 2 tiebreaker raid sets. You are hearing this right, 2 tiebreaker raids. This third one is the deciding one in favor of Horizon. So yeah, well played, GG's, and we'll have to continue the rest of this trial to see what Rocket is going to achieve. So swing and a miss again coming through on this pallet. Claudia's playing this nicely, but I don't think they have, again, that much to go through, and that's the same tech that Claudette did try in the previous wave trials, but this time there's no difference, and they get down anyway. As the reset comes in, Rocket is actually going for the slug race. Still trying to go for the quad slugs, maybe just committing to that course of action as was the plan from the start, but of course since the game is over, of course, like, there's still free reign. So actually does catch out Lori here, so does get a free forced hesitation value and forced Gleam from the infectious fight, but will not actually capitalize will not actually transfer that into a tag onto Lori. So potentially there was the pallet setup there, which allowed that Lori to get away safely. But anyway, gonna take the first hook and first fresh hook onto uh, Jake. And sorry, not the first fresh hook, the third fresh hook, the first hook on the Jake. And actually somehow find Lolly again, trying to go for the save, as this Tal is going to be playing. Okay, no, we're not playing that Tal. We're going back to the pallet gymnastics, as Lolly does do a bit of a standoff, does drop the firecracker, does get a little bit zoned here, does have to potentially jiggy away, and they do exactly that. I think they went on the other side. Rocket might have tried to body block the exits there, but anyway. I do like to remind everyone that quite a while ago I was observing one of Rocket's streams, and just a bit of reminisce here. I think I believe it was Zongao or Nigel from Oracle, one of the OG comp players back in the day. Which, by the way, I wasn't really around to watch too much, but back in the day, you know, those two players were pretty great and pretty juicy as in terms of juices. But yeah, Rocket and I believe Nigel or Zongao, they were doing some pallet Olympics, which is pretty much just to say playing 50-50s on like filler pallets. And yeah, that was one of them in Midwich. So it's actually a nice little setup to try and learn, because you can try and connect stuff in a real chase. But at the same time, there's still 50-50 pallets, so there's only so many 50s you can win. That's something that I am going to say from now on. So yeah, that's the final threshold coming through though. So at least this 4 hooks is going to be on the board at 2 gens remaining. And actually Rocket might be able to go for something good here. This is Claudette getting caught out. I don't think this pallet is going to be made. Yeah, look at that. It's a little bit too far away, and that's going to be the second hook onto Claudette as a result. But that's another generator popping in the background, and I feel like yeah, maybe this 4K1 is still a little bit out of reach. Depends what our survivors decide to do here. But second hook for Claudette. The unhook happened in the distance, so potentially a reset as well coming through. Depends again about the timing, but Rocket did not find the reset, and that is going to be 2 heals coming in. So we're looking at 3 healthies and 4v1 with a not really a 3-gen setup available. So I think we're looking at outs here, but Claudette's gonna run into our Wraith a little bit, but thanks to the pallet not being broken from before, Tech Claudette is able to just last here. Rocket's trying the mind games, but unfortunately it won't work on our Survivor, so I think he'll just be playing this just for fun, you know. Yeah, it seems like it will be playing for fun. Nancy's gonna take a tag, but Rocket still wants to get this down, maybe just for the clip. Maybe for his stream, because I believe he is streaming this one. He nearly gets the hit over the bathroom god pallet. But unfortunately, it's not enough. And Tech still makes it away. It's gonna be the swing and finally the down of the pallet. Surely, you've got to be happy about that one, Rocket. They do see our Lori around here. Maybe just going for a flashlight save. Bit of an inspection on one of the corpses. And a bit of a friendly little WS to finish off the trial will result in 6 stages for Rockets, which is unfortunately not enough to meet the 4K3 win condition, but Orison is going to be walking away with the 2-1 victory, advancing into the quarterfinals, I believe, because that will be round 4 of Season 3 in the higher bracket, or the main bracket. And that's going to push Hadria down into the low bracket, which I think is a bit of a surprise to a couple of players, or the Rocket fans anyway. But yeah, they're going to be fighting it out there, and we'll be seeing both teams fairly soon in the upcoming weeks. But that's enough of me yapping, I think, for tonight. We had some great stuff here on the back end. It's like 5 a.m. here, so yeah, it's kind of like been a bit of a long morning for all of us. So hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the casting. Hope you enjoyed the games. They were great to watch this ferocious battle, I guess, of the Philip Odromos. But we'll see you next time on Blood Rush League.
when the next match will pop up. So
Good night, everyone, or good morning if you're unfortunately from Oceania. But good night and take care.